I've reformed. And a lot of people. That's like really.
And they call me.
But otherwise, you're.
Otherwise, named this, you're all good.
So I call. And then.
We all look different on camera, John.
I really have more hair. Sorry.
Okay, I really have more. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Let's start with pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will start with Robert going over the Zoom instructions. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, good evening and thank you for joining us. You have been muted if you're on Zoom. So when the time is appropriate for your public comment, you may raise your hand by using the react button. Or you may use the chat to make public comments. So that's all I got.
Madam President, before we proceed, I would like to request that unfinished business and new business be moved up on the agenda ahead of the monthly reports and the approval of the monthly reports. Reason for this request is we have a visitor in today, and out of respect to them and the community, so they have time to ask questions, I feel that it is in the best interest.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is George, and I'll second the motion.
Okay, so that means we're gonna move down the agenda and start with unfinished business. So we have Todd here from DLZ. Yeah.
Is there a discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we have some discussion?
Yes, we can have some discussion on the
We
motion.
have one staff member that has some personal reasons that they need to exit sooner than that. Can we include then the superintendent report, leave them as first?
As first. I'm good with that.
Yep, so you want to amend the motion to
So
move,
I would amend the motion to break out the superintendent's report and proceeding then with the unfinished business
And the new business.
and new business.
I will second that.
okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Robert, we good?
I'm just getting to the,
Sorry, I saw the hand go up and I.
no, it's but yeah, we're good. I'm sorry.
All right, so Guy, we'll start with you with the superintendent report.
Okay, I had 184.5 hours this month. Denver had 172.5. I issued one road cut permit, one demo permit, and 4 letters of non-objection. Sewer department, we had 44 locates, 6 alarm calls. On the grinders, we replaced 2, we repaired 0 and set up 0.
He's trying to find it on the,
Yeah.
so that they can see.
Number
Not
9.
in order,
I have
right there.
8 ready to go in the system. I still have 14 boxed, ready to be set up. Average daily flow was 54,567 gallons per day. Sewer department, CEM has finally received the rest of our parts to finish refurbishing the last 3 grinders that are out there. Is what's been happening is every time they've gotten a shipment of parts, everything has been smashed. They had to send it over. This is the 4th time. So everything did come in all in one piece this time. And since I did my report, the sewer truck had to go in for some repairs again on last Thursday. We got it back and it's back up there again today. I didn't get a report on it at the end of the day yet. And mileage for the sewer truck this month was 494 miles. As of November 10th, Denver and I had picked up 29 loads of leaves and taken them to the compost site in Fremont. And mileage for the dump truck was 772 miles.
Thank you, Guy. Any questions for Guy?
How's the leaf working?
The leaf vac is working beautifully until it caught fire twice on us on Thursday. That's why we were picking up leaves.
What happened?
Leaves are too dry and turning into powder, and they were building up on the engine hood and falling down on the exhaust manifold and the muffler.
And you were neither one hurt though?
No, I was paying very close attention because I seen what was happening early in the day. And what was happening the day before, so you just go back here with your gloved hand and sweep them off. For the most part, so. We had it, Bob and I had had it happen a few years ago, so I kind of looked a lot. So. That is the reason we have fire extinguishers on the truck.
Ready and handy. Anybody have anything else for Guy?
Thanks.
Yeah.
For all the hard work on the.
And absolutely, I want to echo that. I know there were some calls from some folks and you were very responsive in working to get a solution for their situation. So thank you for that. And I think you can go. We're finished, right?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, so now we will move to the community crossing matching grant discussion. And we have Todd from DLZ here. This is a application that we, the town of Clear Lake, put in to NDOT. And what our next steps are going to be is to perform a final review after we find out if that grant was approved or not. And Todd will walk us through that. Darren actually invited Todd to be here in response to some of the dialogue that was had by council and residents at the last meeting. I'm just asking for an opportunity to seek more information. And so what we're going to have Todd start, and if we could just kind of pause between, certain sections where you think it's appropriate and open it up for questions. Anybody else from council have anything they want to add?
Good questions.
All right. You all, again, my name is Todd Thurber. I'm with DLZ. We've been town engineers here. And you can go ahead and click to next slide. Oh, sorry. When I play with the Zoom thing, I didn't know how to do it. Okay. So I'll just kind of go over a couple, I've got kind of 3 different parts we'll look at, and this would be a good time to break in between for questions. We'll talk about the grant program itself, community crossings grant. I'll talk about typical roadway details, and then we'll get into the projects that we applied for specifically. Are they using Clear?
There is no password for the Zoom call, so.
Oh, it's only for if it's on the phone, I think is the only time you need the password. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All they have to do is click on the link on the website.
If they're on their computer or if they're on their phone,
Either or.
Either one works.
click on the website.
There is a password. clear, but with a capital C.
Thank you. All right.
No, it's fine. We're good to go. All right.
Continue time.
Next slide. So a little bit about myself. I've got a bachelor's in civil engineering from Purdue. I've got about 15 years of experience. I've been with DLZ 13 years. Before that, I was 2 years with NDOT. I have been trained by LTAP, the overseer for asset management plans, and the PASER rating, which is how we rate the roads. I specialize in working with small towns like Clear Lake. I really enjoy working with small towns, which includes everything. You know, I don't specifically have a narrow approach. You know, I work with the roads, water system, sanitary system, storm system, you know, everything that encompasses that. I look back, I think we've been working with Clear Lake, we as in DLZ since about 2006. And like I said, I started in 2009 and I started working right away on the town of Clear Lake projects. So. Go ahead. So first, I wanted to get into, again, a little bit of background on the community crossings matching grant program that NDOT released, which is, we use it as a short-term CCMG. It is managed by NDOT. It was started in 2016, and it was, the goal of that program was to provide money from the state to towns, cities, counties specifically for their local roads and streets. The town, Clear Lake, being under a population of 10,000, that's a 75-25 grant, which means NDOT pays 75% of the construction. The town's responsible for 25. And basically that means that they want to make sure that the town uses the money and has a little bit of skin in the game by providing a match. Almost all NDOT grants themselves, when it comes to roadway stuff, has some sort of a match. That program is self-sufficient. Right now, NDOT doesn't see an end to the program. It uses wheel tax, a little bit of registration fees, and some gas tax, and that's provides the funds that they disperse throughout the year. They accept applications and make awards twice a year. They do that in January and July. And per calendar year, municipality can receive up to $1 million. So meaning that you can apply, in our case, for a 75-25 matching grant, a project total of $1,333,000, which means you get the $1 million and the town would put the 25%, be the 333,000 in. And that's, you know, what I say, the most bang for your buck. Clear Lake has applied and been awarded for following awards. You know, 2018, 2019 was Fountain Beach, 2019, 2020 was Penner Drive, as well as the Lakeside Court Culvert. 2020, 2021 was the West Clear Lake Drive Culvert, and then Clear Lake Cove as well. So we've got a history of doing actual CCMG awards. Part of the process of going through this grant program, the one thing that we have to do, that we've done every year, is complete a pavement asset management plan. This is where you're going to go through and rate the roads, and upload that to the agency called LTAP. It's managed by Purdue University. Basically, they take all that data and compile it for the entire state. So it's a way for them to get that data. After you complete that, they give us a certificate saying you completed it, and then that's part of the upload for the grant process. As I stated, they open applications in January and July, so twice per year. So, and then as part of that application, you sit down, look through it, and it's all online. You select the roads, fill out the application, you have to provide a detailed cost estimate per road. Which again, it's detailed, but it's a high level, and we haven't gotten into full design yet, so it's still high level cost estimate. The town commitment letter, which is basically saying that the town understands the cost of the roads and they're willing to put forth money. It's not set in stone, but they're willing to put forth the money to commit to those projects. And then the asset management plan approval letter, as I stated before, just saying that you've rated the roads and they have that data. When, as I stated, applying in January or July, then it takes about 3 to 4 months for them to put out those awards saying, yes, you've been selected. Here's the award, please continue on, and then we will give you that money that you requested. As part of the selection of what roads get applied for. Basically, the town can select any road they want. Now, it looks better to apply for a road that is in very big need of rehabilitation. Meaning one that's really busted up, potholes, cracking, rutting, etc. And that goes in collaboration with the town superintendent, street superintendent, in this case, Guy. Generally, you want to select the roads with, as I stated earlier, the rating, PASER rating, the rating of the roads that are lower on the spectrum. So I'll get into more detail on the actual PASER rating, but generally that looks better on the application to select roads that are lower. Which can be done on the condition of the pavement, but also you can look around at the different aspects of the road, meaning is there proper drainage, because that affects pavement condition. And things associated with that. So our current application status that we applied for here, that application was submitted on August 30th. As I stated, we are waiting on NDOT to announce those awards. They're supposed to be announced sometime here in November. Fingers crossed, maybe yet this week, we're hoping. But it's entirely in their ballpark. So go ahead. So that ends the portion on the community crossings process. Are there any questions with that?
I think you kind of laid it out, but if you can answer this or not, I don't know. The condition of the roads that are selected when we're applying for the grant, do you feel that that plays into the acceptance or decline from the grant from NDOT?
Yes, I feel, and I'll get into it a little more detailed and later on, but yes. The roads that were applied for are lower on the spectrum and are in need of rehabilitation.
And that plays into the way
And
that
it's a
they
good-
evaluate.
Yes, and they are good roads to apply for, if that makes sense.
Yes, that answers my question.
Little detailed question on the financial side. You referred to a financial commitment letter that the town sent. And that indicated that we were committing $1,335,000.
No,
No, I was stating that that's just the most bang for your buck as far as 75-25 match, with the understanding that NDOT awards up to $1 million. I'd have to look back. I can't remember what
I believe the letter stated $1,335,000.
Okay, was that, okay,
And if you add up the estimate cost, it's $1,299,000, so about 36,000 difference. I'm curious why there's a difference between what we're requesting, what the cost bids are, and what's stated in our letter.
I would have to look back. I don't remember.
But let me take a stab at that. So I believe that difference was associated with the estimates, you can only go down, once the estimates are submitted on the application. You can only go down and so also the financial commitment is a minimum of 25%. You can.
So that's our commitment.
So so the higher value covers a little bit of overages for the projects
Okay,
that we budgeted to the higher value. And it also strengthens the application because we're actually financially committing to a little bit extra money over the 25%.
when this is awarded, will they award the cost estimate amount or the amount in our letter?
I don't, I just added up the estimates really quick, so I don't, I've got
$299.
the ones I have the 1,335
The maximum that they would give us is $1 million,
is $1 million.
no matter what.
So, but,
No,
so as part of the application though, you know, we're looking at we wanted to apply for the $1 million. Make sure we get that. If for say, we only apply for. Let's say, here, let me step back. Say we applied for a project that was $1 million and it was $750,000 grant, $250,000 town match. Let's say we bid that project out and the project comes in at 1.1 million. Then the town would have to come up with that extra 100,000. So by making sure we've got enough in there to cover rising costs or everything else, since this, you know, is stretched over a long period of time. We want to make sure that we're able to get as much grant money as possible.
I guess I'm still not quite clear, but when we get the grant, are we gonna be granted the amount in the letter? Or the amount in the cost estimates that was submitted to IDOT?
We will be given the amount that was requested,
In the letter,
yes,
okay,
ish.
that answers.
And that should match,
well,
Like
that
6,000 different.
assumes that they approve all three projects.
and that's a good point too, assuming they approve all 3 projects.
And yeah, and I have a question on that is even though, because you had mentioned earlier that it's not, we don't have the full design spec on the project, so the price could be different.
Correct. So they will come back and say, based on what we applied for, they're saying, hey. Which we hope, fingers crossed, they say, hey, you've been awarded $1 million, congratulations. We will proceed, pending council's approval, we will proceed with survey, design, etc. Bid the project out, say that project, the low bid that's acceptable comes in at 1.2 million. They will adjust that and award us based on that bid. So, you know, then we'll only get 900 and, you know, whatever comes out.
The same percent.
Yeah, same percentage, it'll be lower, but that way we're guaranteed that amount. And again, like I said, if it was to come in higher than what we estimated, we wouldn't be able to get any more money.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, thank you.
I think this might be a good time to bring up, you mentioned estimates, George has mentioned estimates. You were involved in the Clear Lake Cove.
Mhm.
Lack of better words, fiasco. There were several estimates that were given in the initial phases, things were awarded. But in that instance, can you give us a ballpark, not direct, but ballpark on how much higher we were above the estimates, just to be able to complete Clear Lake Cove due to the unforeseen issues that lay under the road?
It actually came in under, if you remember, back in June or July, I had to give $700 back to NDOT.
Okay.
So it did come in, the final came in lower.
Okay.
So within that bid, we can make, you know, some assumptions. And build in, and NDOT actually says to do this, you know, build in some additional quantity as far as patching, et cetera, to make sure you got that covered. So we can build in a little extra just to make sure.
So we build it in to make sure if we get into the project and there would be something that lies underneath the road that we didn't know about, that the town isn't then responsible for coming up with an additional $10,000 or $100,000 to finish a project because it was unforeseen. So that's we taken into the process of applying for these grants is we have to go a little bit higher because again, it's based off the estimates and we don't know for sure what we're gonna find once they have the equipment rolls in.
There's always unknowns, yes, and we do try to do the best we can to anticipate those. And sometimes there is a certain situation where there could be something that needs some additional money, but we try to. Again, do the best we can to anticipate everything.
Thank you.
I just have one question and then I think we need to keep moving on and you may be getting to this in your presentation. It's just, I know you mentioned that Guy and the town selected the projects. I know we've had a gap because of COVID.
Mhm.
So if either now or later in the presentation, if you could talk to, who was involved in that besides Guy.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I will get that,
I thought it might be later.
Yeah.
in one of your other slides, just
get to that.
from looking through it, I thought it was addressed there.
Yep, yeah. With that, let's move on. So now, as I stated, I was gonna do a little bit more on some general roadway specifics and what we like to see versus what we're actually seeing, etc. You can see a couple photos I got of some of the roadways that we see. I took those pictures. Fortunately, when it was raining, you can see water standing on the roadways there at West Clear Lake Drive and also on Platte Arbor. In a typical roadway, we can see some average lifespans. Again, it's dependent on many factors. 15 to 20 years. Again, it's expected. Got one that's built properly with good subgrade, good stone subgrade, plenty of asphalt on it. In Clear Lake, we're kind of seeing that 8 to 10 years. And I base that on the roads that we've done in the past of just doing a mill and resurface and what they're looking at, right? Like what the condition of those roadways are right now. So some of the factors that contribute to roadway deterioration, and these are they're mostly in order of importance. The number one thing is drainage. You ask any contractor, roadway contractor, they're gonna agree with the same thing. You can't get the water off that roadway and not just sitting on it, then that is the number one cause for failure in asphalt, and even concrete. One of the next things is if we don't have enough asphalt on the roadway, the thickness of the asphalt and the stone subgrade play a very important role in how that road ages as we go through the years. And the other thing that contributes is weight and size of the vehicles. If we've got a lot more trucks, we're seeing a lot more trucks on these roads. That'll cause the roadway to rut a lot faster. With the increase in housing construction around the lake, you're getting a lot more concrete trucks, dump trucks, etc., running around these local narrow roads. That's contributing to those things coming down. Routine maintenance, like everything else, you need to upkeep on the roads, which includes crack sealing, for example. The quicker you can get any of the roadway cracks sealed, then the less water that'll infiltrate into the roadway base and keep it from blowing apart and freeze and thaw, etc. And then one of the last things, which is well, applies right now, is winter weather. Indiana is very unique in the fact that we get a lot, I mean, we get the heavy winter, but we've got a lot of freeze and thaw happening, so we don't get a strict cold spell. You know, we'll get those days that it's frozen and then it gets up into 40 and thaws out and then gets back down. So there's a lot of change that happens to the roadway with the winter that we have. So as I stated before about the Pager rating, this is kind of two things we look at to rate these roadways. The Pager rating is what is accepted by NDOT. It was developed out of the University of Wisconsin. It's kind of one of the universal ways to tell a condition of the roadway. It includes a visual inspection of the roadway, so looking at every road by an LTAP certified inspector. We rate them between 1 and 10, you know, 1 being a complete failure, stone, gravel, to 10 being a brand new road. So, and then you kind of see the basic ranges, you know, 1 to 4 is a poor road, 5 to 7 is fair, 8 to 10 is considered a good road. Another tool we have is taking a core sample. And what that is a contractor comes out and takes a drill bit, a hole saw, and drills into the pavement and pulls out a sample. They do that, NDOT does it for brand new roads to test them. So we were able to do this a couple weeks ago, and it provided a little more guidance on it. And basically it determines the asphalt thickness, the condition of it, the stone that's used inside of it. Different stone has different properties to it, and also the type and thickness of the subgrade underneath it, whether it's stone, sand, a mix. So those are two of the tools we use to look at and rate the roads. So a couple examples I got of, and this is these pictures are not necessarily in Clear Lake. They're pictures I had that I've looked at and used. So this is the example of a Pager rating 3. You can see a lot of alligator cracking, which is the spider cracking all over. Longitudinal cracking is straight line on the path of the road. Transverse cracking is perpendicular to the road. So this, you can see there that it indicates some sort of structural base failure underneath the pavement. You can see that little hole in the upper left corner. Not only does water sit there, but you can actually see the mud pumping up through the pavement. So that indicates something needs done fairly soon. So this is an example of a Pager rating of 5. So this one just has some cracking, some transverse and longitudinal cracking. It kind of indicates that the pavement's starting to break down. You can see a little bit on the edge of the roadways getting a little worse, which is typical. And the pavement is starting to age a little more. And then here's an example of a 7, what we would rate as a 7. A little bit of rutting, just a little bit of longitudinal cracking. You know, there's a start of some pavement aging and some breakdown of the surface itself, the surface asphalt, not necessarily the base. And last one, Pager rating 9. This project or this road was just resurfaced. It's got proper structural components. So it gets a 9. So here you can see, this was the asset management plan that we did here just recently. This lists all the roads with some breakpoints. We've got some history of the ratings in there, but also we've got it color coded to indicate, you know, some of the more crucial ones. So the tannish pinkish ones are the lower ratings. The green are the mid ratings, and the blue are the higher ratings. So you can see, some of the threes there, the Lakeview, Quiet Harbor, Sandpoint. Those are some of the lowest ratings in town. And then you get to some of the light greens that are a 4, the dark greens are a 5. So. And then here's kind of a map with that same color coding indicating where the location of those are, where those Paisley ratings apply per road as we go around the lake.
So, oh,
Go ahead.
so and now maybe, could you maybe with one of these two, maybe explain why the 3 were picked? I understand a couple are in orange, but I see one in green. And I see other ones in orange. So if I'm just being objective and just looking at numbers and looking at the pictures and what you had shared previously, I'm like, okay, why the green versus some of the other orange? Or lower Pacer is probably the vernacular.
Oh, that makes sense. So not only does the Paisley rating contribute to what makes a good project or a needed project, but also, as I indicated, drainage. So, yeah, of the 3 projects that were presented or that were applied for, and I'll get to project specifics here later in the slide. Yeah, Quiet Harbor was one. West Clear Lake Drive, way up there, from the bridge to Lakeview, that was another one, which is a 3 indicated. Now, the other one here was West Clear Lake Drive, this section. Okay, that one being a little higher was chosen, but it was chosen to the effect of there has been a project on the books for 5 or 6 years, I believe. And I'll get into that later as well, at 22 West Clear Lake Drive. So the Conservancy did a project with drainage. We were made aware of that pipe that goes underneath the house. So that project includes that portion as well. I know we presented that, doing just that project at 22 West Clear Lake Drive in the past. And it was put on hold until there was some grant money available. So this takes that into account.
I think there's permitting partners that you'll get into later.
Yes,
To talk about some of that
Okay.
with the
Yeah,
IDNR.
that too. Yeah, and I can get into that. Remind me too, please.
Okay.
If I don't say it. Was there, did that answer?
I was gonna ask Tom, if this would be a good point for us to stop the council, suspend the council meeting and open it up to the public. Just to give the public a little chance to input. Would you like a break here? Or you want to, is there a better?
Yeah, let me get a couple more.
Okay, just give me the high side when you think it'd be a good time to transition to our public.
Yeah. Let me keep going a few more.
So quick question, you said this was, I know you said this was just done, so when you say just done, was it like November, was it September?
October.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I did it October.
Thank you.
This has to be completed by December 1st and submitted, so. It's one of those check marks, so, yep. So, just in general, based on that Paisley rating, we've got a couple of charts here that rates. Here you can see our ratings by miles. So we've got 1.36 miles of roadway, that's a 3. Compared to 2.86 miles, that's a rating of a 7. And then based on that good, fair, poor condition rating that I stated earlier, the majority of the roads here in Clear Lake are in the fair category. So,
Yeah, they're just asking a question if we can go back one slide, but right now.
When we.
When we have. So, then working with everybody, with Guy, we came up with kind of our history / 5-year plan. So, we've kind of hit the history, you know, we've done Fountain Beach, we've done Penner Drive, culvert replacement at Lakeside by the boat launch, Clear Lake Cove, and the West Clear Lake Drive culvert replacement. Those were all community crossings funded. You know, the yellow here are the projects that we've applied for, Quiet Harbor, and the 2 different sections of West Clear Lake Drive. Based on that, we would anticipate construction in 2023 if awarded and approved. And as I stated, that section of West Clear Lake Drive includes that 22 West Clear Lake Drive that was initially started 2019. So then as part of the 5-year plan that we were asked to come up with, based on the initial Paiser ratings that we did, and this was in collaboration with Guy, Lakeview Drive, being that it's a Paiser rating of 3, that's one that's definitely needs done. Sandpoint Road, and these are kind of the ones we kind of ballparked. Now we can always reorder these aren't set in stone. This is just an initial 5-year plan. So Lakeview, Sandpoint, you know, would target a 2023 application with construction in 2024. South Clear Lake Drive and Outer Drive could be a 2024 application and done in 25. East Clear Lake Drive in 25, as well as a culvert replacement by the Yacht Club with construction in 26, and then East Clear Lake Drive could be done with a construction in 27. Again, that's just a initial 5-year plan to give us something to go off of based on drainage, Paiser rating, and kind of foreseeable need.
So to that, if the next, so based on that, our next section of projects, so we as a council should determine what in that group of green, by what date would you say council should have a decision on that?
To do those,
No, just so we could to have an idea, talk to the residents and determine which of those projects, if it's not in that 24 to 27. I'm just asking you to provide guidance to us.
Sooner the better. So I would anticipate, I would say we need to start thinking about this in January and February. So that by the time we get to, there's discussion, we can come up with some estimates, you know, some general estimates, etc. And then we can make that decision in the May, June council meetings to be able to apply in July.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate the questions, everything's. Let me get into a little bit of history on.
Did you have any discussions about the flooding on the West Clear Lake Drive on the south side of the culvert? With Guy?
No, I have not yet.
We had to close the road down last year. I don't see that on the list.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That was the one by the yacht club, right? Yeah, a little bit, I threw it on there, that can be pushed around anywhere, that would be
Is that on the list?
Yeah, that would be the second to last one.
West
It
Lake
just
by
says
the,
replace.
But with that, that's gonna take a little more permitting time, so if we're gonna wanna do that, we need to kind of think ahead, get some ideas going, and we need to get that started permitting wise about a year in advance.
And do we need a Paiser rating for that? It says NA on that, but
No.
earlier you stated we need to have Paiser ratings on anything going for a grant.
No, being that that's a small. That's a small portion of that roadway is already rated. Over the entire section.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to draw attention to the culvert itself. Since we've already done 2 culverts already.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused because we just talked about the road closed by the culvert at the yacht club. The road close that I experienced was at Cottage 176 due to water and ice. That curve right there. Where the old Mirador Hotel used to be, that had been barricaded. Jessica, I don't know if you recall a guy going out, but last winter, 3 or 4 times, he closed the road at the top of the hill. And went down because it was flooded. And it froze and it was totally impassable. That's not at the yacht club, it's
Further,
I guess you call
further north.
it north of the yacht.
Yeah.
South of the yacht.
Oh, it's south of the yacht. Okay, yeah, and that's something we can look at too. We can bump that up.
I might want to talk to Guy because, like I said, on several occasions, he had to barricade it off. Visit Cottage 176 is the bullseye of it.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a culvert, you said?
No, it's just, there's
It's a low,
just a low spot,
low spot. You know,
long on both sides.
It's a very, if I remember, it's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna take a little bit of.
it's-
There's a swale, not to solve the problem tonight, but real quick, there's a swale there that probably needs to be cleaned out along the road that goes back to the channel. And something like was done at by Dickus's at Penner Drive and West Clear Lake. I don't know what you call them, but there's 3 pipes that equalize the water, so you raise the road, it doesn't dam, it just lets the water equalize on both sides.
Yes, okay, yep. We weren't involved in that one, but yes, I know.
But it's okay.
Yep. That works. All right, well. So I'm gonna get a little bit on the pavement coring that we just received the report on, so that it's good to see. And then we can open it up for questions after I get through this segment. As I said a little earlier, pavement coring involves taking a representative sample to assess material quality and the thickness of the asphalt layer and subgrade. So it allows us to see those possible reasons for pavement failure. In general, we like to see 5 to 6 inches of asphalt on 8 to 12 inches of number 53 stone. And for perspective, I know some of the state highways have 12 inches of asphalt. So you can see that the different types of roads have different thicknesses of asphalt. I was involved in the I-69 reconstruction on the north side of Fort Wayne. That's got 19 inches of asphalt. So you can see there's different ratings, different thicknesses for different roads. So we were able to do some pavement coring, and here's the locations that they were done based on potential projects, you know, the ones we applied for, and also the future 5-year plan. Pick some locations around the lake to give us a good representative sample of what the asphalt thickness is, so we know going forward. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. So here you can see there's what I've highlighted in red is some very big indicators of potential problems. Based on our general guidance of 5 to 6 inches of asphalt, we've got a lot of sections that are lower than that. You know, 2.5 inches of asphalt on Quiet Harbor, less than 3 inches on East Clear Lake Drive, you know, 4 inches in those sections. The other thing that really was an eye opener was in the remarks category. That's indicating what that asphalt is laid on top of. So that subgrade, it's very sandy, and that's not good for building roads on. So these two sections of brown fine sand is really concerning. The other sections where they say brown sandy gravel product means a lot of sand and very little stone. So that's very concerning.
So the brown fine sand is more concerning than the brown sandy gravel product. In your opinion,
In my opinion, yes, but they're all very,
they're all bad.
they're all bad. Yeah.
The red. The red.
They unfortunately, they didn't take pictures and didn't provide us a sample of that. It would have been nice to physically see that sample, but based on their description, concerning. So here's a couple of those samples. I just, out of the 12, I just picked a couple to highlight the samples that they actually pulled out. So not only do we look at the thickness, but we look at what it's made up of. So this first one on Quiet Harbor that was 2.4 inches thick. And it's generally what we like to see as far as stone in there. As you move to the second picture, PC4, it's a little bit thicker, 4.2 inches. What's interesting is the smaller stone at the bottom, or I'm sorry, the bigger stone at the bottom, but there's a lot more R and liquid in it, which makes it makes me assume that it was chip and sealed first for a couple times and then asphalt laid over the top of it. And then when you get to PC6, it kind of broke apart, which means it's not glued together very well. You can see the layer. So there's definitely some interesting components of the road.
So when you look at these images, just orient me, which is the road surface and which is the base of the.
Generally, the smoother part should be the road surface, so should be on the left-hand side.
Left side.
Unless they flipped them.
Except on the sixth.
Yeah, that one didn't look right. Generally, they were supposed to keep them the same orientation. But, so again, you can see, thin asphalt, PC10, there's a lot of small stone in there. There's not a lot of thicker, bigger stone. And when we build those asphalt layers, we start with bigger stone and then go to smaller stone as we go up to a higher. Start with the base that contains bigger stone to give it the stability and the structure. And as you go up, there's smaller stone to seal it in to prevent water from getting in the asphalt. So, PC10, you can actually see that, it looks like, again, maybe some chip and seal, you see some tar layers in there. Let me go to the next one. So some of the observed issues, as example, again, this isn't necessarily out here, but this is an example of what would be a thin asphalt. You can see the alligator cracking. You can actually see some rutting in it. A lot of different cracking. There's been some pothole patch, so it's been potholing. On the right here is an example of some sandy subgrade. So this was on a proof roll I was on, which takes a loaded dump truck down to test how solid subgrade is. And again, this wasn't in Clear Lake, but this is an example. That dump truck ended up getting stuck because that sand just sucked in and pushed apart, and the axles just fell in. So they had to get that towed out, pulled out. So
I'm not aware that we've done any coring in the past.
I don't think we have, not that I recall. And I talked to Guy, he had talked to Bob, and Bob doesn't remember doing it ever either. So.
But the coring really sheds some good engineering, gives it good engineering data that kind of connects some dots as to why we're not maybe seeing the life expectancy out of the road.
Correct. And it again helps us to kind of understand, how to anticipate and design these roads a little better, for the applications and for the actual, full-fledged design.
Yeah, you know more about what you're getting into.
Yep.
During the paper design of the. And estimating of the road project itself.
Correct. Yep.
So to summarize, the core samples help you offer better estimates and provide a better cost analysis for the town.
Yes, yep. So, I think I got like 2 more slides and then we can stop, before we get into the actual application projects. So like everything, being an engineer, I understand, there's a cost benefit to everything you do. For a simple mill and resurface that we've done in the past on some of them, it is an initial lower cost. Okay, just to scrape off the top, grind off the top layer of asphalt, put a new layer, 1.5 layer on, and it looks great for a short time. You're not addressing drainage, and then you may redo that road in 4 to 7 years, just because it doesn't last. I've seen a lot of projects where all they want to do is a mill and resurface. They do it, and then the next year, those cracks that were in the base layer of asphalt are already showing through. Then they feel like, well, did we do anything? What was our benefit there? If we're already getting cracking through in a year, it makes you feel like it didn't work. But there's also more upkeep on that. So if you look at a different solution, meaning you do a full reconstruction, you address drainage concerns, you're going to have a higher initial cost, but it's more of a long-term solution, and then you're closer to achieving that 15 to 20 year lifespan of the road. And then you got less future maintenance. So to put it into a little bit of an example, and this is just high level, pulling it out of the sky a little bit as far as numbers. No, I don't want to say it that way. This is just a high level example. So say you do a mill and resurface, and say you stretch that to get that 7-year lifespan. Okay. No drainage fixes, no subgrade repair. You just take a road, mill off the top layer, the 1.5 inch, and put a new layer down. So say if you do that year 1, it's $150,000 to do that fix. Say by year 3, like I said, some of those cracks are coming back through. You need to do some crack seal for, say it's going to cost to get a company up here, mobilize up here, say it's going to cost $5,000. Year 7, that roadway has deteriorated again. You need to do another mill and resurface on it. Again, showing that 7-year lifespan. Year 10, you got another $5,000 in crack seal. Year 14, you got to do another mill and resurface. Now, because of rising material costs, labor costs, inflation, in year 1, that was $150,000. By year 7, maybe that same section is going to cost you $225,000. And then by year 14, maybe that section is going to cost $300,000 to do the same amount of work. And then you do another section of crack seal. So in that, 20 years, you've spent $690,000 on that road. Or say you do a full reconstruction on that same section, same road. You do drainage improvements, take it down, put a proper subgrade of 8 to 12 inches, 6 inches of asphalt. It's going to cost you $500,000 up front. And then maybe by year 10, just because of how roads are, you might have to do a little crack seal. Same thing 5 years later. But you've only spent $510,000 on that road versus $690,000. So you can see higher initial cost may help you spend less money overall in the future.
And then I'm assuming too, if you do all the improvements. You still have that to leverage when you eventually want to resurface.
Correct. So after that 20-year lifespan.
To the 20-year lifespan.
Yep, so then, after that 20 years, you don't have to do another $510,000 fix on it. You know that road's been properly built, should stay fairly decent underneath on the base, that you would only need to do a mill and resurface on that. At 300,000 versus 500,000. So. Again, we're trying to. Spend less money in the future, make it easier, build the roads properly. And create less work for the future.
Okay, I take it your professional opinion is when the funds are available, if we're going into a project, that we take it full scope versus the shortcuts, for lack of better words, on just the milling and surfacing.
Yes, especially when you're getting 75% of that paid by NDOT versus, over these years, you may not be getting all that 75%. And again, I should have said this earlier, 75% that NDOT is putting in, it's all of our money, it's tax money, so we're all contributing it. So by using the grant money, you're using money that you're already putting in. So you're getting a piece of the pie. So it makes you feel like you're getting something that you're paying for already. Next slide.
I think we're at a point.
Yes, so now's a good point to ask questions before we get into the details of the estimate.
I'll make a motion to open for general public comment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
This is George, I'll second it.
So moved. Ron's got his hand. Ron beat you, Tyler.
A real simple question. On the slide before, what unit was that? Was that 1 mile? 10 miles?
8.
Okay, fine. We didn't vote. I assumed.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry, Ron. That was. Here. We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ron. Todd.
You understood my question.
Yes. That I didn't detail that down to an actual mile, half mile. Based on our estimates, I can throw out that could be considered, I don't know, probably 3/4 of a mile.
Less than a mile. Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
Todd Rumsey, 432 Point Park Drive. And initially you mentioned that our roads are really 8 to 10 year lifespan. So if we assume that where I live for 5 years hasn't been touched, then within the 5-year plan, it will reach end of life. Yeah, my street's not on the 5-year plan. So why were cores not done everywhere? So we have the rate of degradation rather than an initial status. I think and that bothers me that we would make it as 5-year plan with only initial state rather than a rate of decay. So can you answer that? And since we have such a finite amount of roads, then, and our roads are lasting 8 to 10 years, if you core everything and then you have interval cores, you can create an 8 to 10 year plan to make sure that this $1 million in perpetuity, as you describe it, is used to the best of our ability.
Good question.
It's been an hour thinking of it.
Yeah. Well thought out, thank you. You have a great name, by the way. So the initial 5-year plan was based on just Pager ratings, due to not having the core sample available. It was kind of a not really a last minute thing, but another option late in the game after the Paisley rating was done and after the 5-year plan was created. To get data quickly, we chose 12 locations that ultimately ended up being the 5-year plan based on Paisley rating. So knowing what we know now, we could do another set of core samples, the rest of the locations around the lake, and recreate that. But I mean, it's ultimately up to council's decision as far as spending that money, but I think it's money well spent to, in my opinion, to get that data.
I can do this for a living, but it seems that at some point you want to, that a Paisley rating plus information. You ideally like to replace a road at what, at 3, at 2, you don't ever want it to be a 1.
Correct.
So is our goal to keep our roads always above, where's the goal? Is it always above 4? Is it 5? Is it 3? I guess I need a bigger picture of what our goal is. Yeah, you fix the current roads, that makes sense. But in a 5-year plan, we have to have some sort of a dashboard that says, what is it that our goal is and how we're going to reach that? If we have half our roads are 15 to 20 years of life, my road will be end of life before the 5-year plan, and I don't like that plan.
And yes, and that's something we can continue to discuss and continue to evolve. Based, I don't have an answer right now.
I think it's
But I guess it is.
I think it's a question for council. It's just have some clear objectives as to what guides the plan. The first year is easy. You got a bunch of 3s and 4 range. 3 and 4 get a lot more thought in how we decide.
And in my opinion,
observation of the question.
Yeah. So, and I think, I think a good goal for a town your size would be to try and get everything above a 5 or a 4 to 5, and maintain that. And once it dips to that, that's your indication.
In that fair to good. Right?
Yeah, but, it's gonna be a constant cycle of, these are gonna start going down.
So everyone's gonna figure is, what's my street?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the natural response, right? So mine's a 6, and if our goal is 5, then.
Yeah.
For now.
And just to piggyback off of that a little bit, so every time we do complete one of the projects, it is in your professional opinion that the lifespan of that road should be extended. So that should be taken into consideration when we're creating the 5-year plan, that you're going to have some sections that aren't going to last that whole period of that 15 to 20 years. And then we've got another set that are going to fall within that 5 to 8 to 7 year period.
Yes. Yeah, so that can help guide our clear path.
Well, every road's gonna be part of the 8-year plan, because they're always
Should do, because after we replace them, they should have more of a 15 to 20 year plan.
then we can have a 15-year.
I think Jim had to stand up.
Jim Hoggle, 154 West Clear Lake Drive. What was the process that you used on Clear Lake Cove? I know you said there were some problems, some unexpected things you ran into. Was that under the new or the old model of revamping all of that? I mean, was it on the 8 to 10 or was it on the 15 years? And what I noticed was what appeared on the one slide, it said it was completed in December of 2021. Here we are 10 months later or 11 months later when this was done, the Paisley rating wasn't a 10. It looked like to be an 8 or 9. I thought I was a little concerned about that. If we just finished it, I'm only 10 months in, why didn't it say a low rating?
13 slides.
10 is reserved for brand new road, meaning through straight brand new. 9 is reserved for recently resurfaced. So
Well, there you go, Arthur.
So I had it at an 8, meaning that it's had 1 year of, oops, sorry,
That's without,
traffic.
without a core.
Yes,
That was what? Without a core. Well, that was my question is, you know, what was done with that and how was it reconstructed? And that would be another 8-year lifespan, is what you're saying?
yes, because that was a full reconstruction. And it was, meaning that new stone was put in, thicker asphalt section. 5.5 or 6.5 inches of asphalt was put in.
So I'm sorry. Right, so that, I guess I'm trying to understand that if it was all redone and the new stone, the thicker asphalt, that would be more than an 8-year, is that correct?
Yes, that would be put under that would be considered more of a 15 to 20 year lifespan on that road.
Okay, so then my dilemma is why is it only an 8 if that's virtually almost a brand new?
Basically because, as I said, 10 is reserved for a brand new road,
Right.
fully cut through. 9 is reserved for a resurfaced road, and generally within that first year, it'll drop 1 PASER rating,
And then
it'll,
the next level though is 5 to 7. Is that right?
Yes. That's the thing.
yeah,
But I think
it'll hold at an 8 longer than a 9.
Okay,
And it'll hold at a 7 longer than an 8. Does that make?
it makes sense. I was just trying to comprehend the numbers and how that rating system and how Clear Lake Cove was constructed and what the numbers mean. So the numbers up here, depending upon how it was constructed, could vary based on different segments.
Yes, and again, this is independent of whether it lasts 5 to 7 years, 8 to 10 years, 15 to 20 years. Yeah. So.
Todd, did you have another question? And then,
Do we have ability to document, how far back can we document when we had reconstruction versus not? And is there a way to tie that into this information of which ones are 15-year life and which ones are 8? Right. I think that was what Jim was getting to.
Yeah.
Is there another column that says last revised and year and what was done? Was it a chip and seal? Was it a micro resurfaced? Was it a total reconstruction?
So what I can do, we haven't gotten to that point yet.
But is
To be
that
honest,
helpful in our
but I can do,
plan?
I can get that,
Well, not-
basically what.
Not for me.
Just. So basically what I can continue to do and continue to evolve with this is go back to our past projects and see what we did. The only bad thing is most of those were at council's direction, mill and resurface projects in the past. I'm talking 10 years ago. But so we don't know the actual thickness, which again, we may want to explore more core samples in the future to help guide that as well.
But I think moving forward, this makes a lot of sense because if you take Clear Lake Cove and you tell me that over X number of years, here's the typical trajectory of it going downward over the 15-year term, then you could almost take that. And if there's periodic samplings, you can compare the samplings to what the average should be over that time and see if there's any deterioration. And that would help potentially prioritize down the road. Probably long after I'll be here, but roads like Point Park and Prospect and Quiet Cove, they don't get through traffic the way others do. So they have much longer lifetime. That's where this rate of degradation, I think, is. They weren't built on a swamp either.
Which again, yeah, that's why, I did state earlier that it's dependent on many, many factors.
Right.
So,
Look, Todd, the last group of questions, I think were excellent questions and comments. And if you could follow up on the repaving of these roads that we're currently looking at to repair this year with this community crossing grant, that'd be helpful for me to see what was the last time Quiet Harbor was repaved, the two West Clear Lake projects. I'd just be real curious, the current age of what we're gonna be fixing.
Yeah, that's, I can do that.
On this, the pink line that says West Clear Lake Drive.
Mhm.
So in 2017, it was rated 3, and then in 18, it was rated 5. 21, it was rated 5, and 22, 3. How did it get better?
I can't comment on that based on, I didn't do the Pacer rating in 2017. But I did do them in 2018, 21, and 22, so I can't tell you what.
Your firm or you?
Our firm did not do the
Okay.
2017 Pacer rating.
That was done by
How long
ERI.
how long have you worked with Clear
Since 2009.
since 2009?
There was a period of time where somebody else.
Yeah, there was a year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple. Yeah, a year or two that was
Engineering resource.
engineering resources was in there. Bob Hull requested us come back in and do the streets. He really liked working with us. So,
And maybe what we could do just for future moving forward is put that as a note at the bottom of
yeah,
that slide.
And in an effort to keep going and get through this presentation and some other pertinent stuff that needs to be addressed tonight. We'll give you guys all another chance to ask questions, but I'm going to make a motion to close the public comments so Todd can finish the rest of the presentation.
George, and I'll second the motion.
And we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Todd, go ahead.
all right. Now we need to find our slide we stepped at.
25.
Oh, yeah. Yep, right there. All right, so here's kind of the third part of my presentation is looking at those specific roads that were selected and applied for the community crossings matching grant. Again, when we do these for that application, you know, we don't want to spend a lot of money up front, so we don't go and survey those roads right away. So for the application, we do a high level assessment and evaluation of these roads. So these roads, these 3 roads that were picked, we look at them high level, we create an exhibit. We look at elevations based on GIS. And we create a detailed estimate based on that. Again, it's not a final design, but a very as detailed as we can get conceptually, high level, so that we can apply and get the best grant money possible. So as we've already kind of discussed, the 3 roads that were put in the application, Quiet Harbor, West Clear Lake up by the bridge and Lakeview Drive, and then West Clear Lake Drive down there between 700 and Sunset Bay. So looking at Quiet Harbor, so this is the detailed conceptual, I shouldn't say detailed. This is the high level conceptual layout that we kind of do to guide the estimate, to come up with the items we put in that detailed estimate and how we want to design that road in the future or when we get to final design. So Quiet Harbor was looked at, you know, it's got a Pacer rating of 3. At the time of the application, we didn't have the core sample, but I made that assumption based on how that roadway looked, that there wasn't a lot of good subgrade, and I had through my engineering sense and knowledge that the asphalt was thin. Sure enough, it was 2 inches, 2.4 inches thick. So I made sure that we applied, when we put together that estimate, that it was gonna be a full reconstruct. Because, you know, again, we don't wanna plan this as a mill and resurface and we mill 1.5 inches off and there was only 2 inches asphalt there. Then the town's looking at me going, well, why didn't you anticipate this better? How are we gonna spend the money to fix this road? You know, so I wanna make sure we got as much covered as possible. So things that were considered in this project. As I said, full reconstruct, 6 inches of asphalt on 12 inches of stone. A crowned roadway, which means the center of the roadway has a crown in it and it sheds water to both sides of the roadway. Okay, getting the water off the road. And generally, what we like to see is that the driveways sit a little bit above the road, maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inches. You know, you have a little lip on those driveways, and that's to protect the homeowner to make sure the roadway water doesn't go in their driveway. In certain situations, you know, generally the house sits above the roadway, which is good, and the driveway comes down. There are certain situations around the lake where the house sits lower than the roadway. By having that driveway up 1 inch to 1.5 inches, keeps that water from trying to go down the driveway. So that's generally what we like to see. Not always achievable, but again, this is general. The other thing with Quiet Harbor was additional storm pipes and inlets to pick up some of the roadway drainage, as well as you see up near the road, the north arrow. I know the county a couple years ago redid that culvert. There's a lot of water that sheds from way out to the west and comes down there and follows that open ditch down to the lake. There's an existing pipe that outfalls there. So part of this that was included in that, again, drainage is eligible for community crossings. And that is considered pavement. You know, it contributes to pavement deterioration. It is eligible, so you might as well put in as much roadway drainage as you can to capture road water coming off the roadways, get it off the roadway as quick as possible, get it into pipes and get it to the outfall. So we've got, again, this is high level, but we're trying to pick up as much roadway water in that section, plus everything that comes from the county, as well as pick up some water over on that section as well. So that's Quiet Harbor.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Yeah, no.
is it fair for me to assume that there's gonna be a swale on both sides of the road so that whatever watershed comes off the road, it will be directed to the nearest drain?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
and another comment I do want to make on this, I know there is a question about the driveways. Again, we try to include driveway restoration, not that we necessarily have to use it all. But again, it's better to put it in the estimate, put it in the bid and not use it than to come back later and not have it in there. When we look at these roadways and do full reconstruction, you know, a lot of times we have to make some little high points and low points in the road. So that's going to change the elevation slightly, which may affect the driveway. We don't want to raise the road in this section and say 2 inches, and then all of a sudden there's a steep drop in to match that existing driveway. So as long as it's within the right of way, we can try to do some work with the driveways to make sure it matches the road based on the best scenario we can come up with. So that's why sometimes the driveways are included.
And so a building on there, I don't believe that there's currently a formed swale on what would be the east side of Quiet Harbor. If we form a swale, would that then require culverts to be put in to maintain that continuous flow?
Yes,
Okay, and that is something that
Something
we
that
have
we-
considered conceptually.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
that could be,
not necessarily drawn.
yeah, not necessarily drawn, but yeah, it's in there.
Sorry.
No. Okay, so I just have a question on all the driveways, because that's, and this is for all three projects. When I look at it, there's a lot of cement or concrete that we're looking at. And when I walk around the lake, I see almost all the new builds with their new driveways. They have their drain in their driveway. That is the owner's responsibility. So can you talk with me about that? Because are all these driveways, are we putting drains in the driveways, or is the swale gonna take care of it? Because I just see new builds and the property owner is taking care of all that. That's all their responsibility. So if you could clarify that for me, making.
Hey, when you say drain, you're talking about culvert pipe underneath the driveway to maintain an existing swale. So generally, if we would, and this can be open for discussion. You know, if we're gonna need to replace the driveway approach, not the full driveway, just the right of way, or less to make the tie-in. If it's impacted to an existing swale, then in order to make this work, it would make sense to replace a culvert here. You know, again, if somebody's putting in a new driveway where there's not a project, it would make sense for them to do that.
But then if we do that, then it becomes our responsibility to maintain. And this is a question we can take off line. We don't have to solve it tonight, but that is something
It's something to discuss, yeah, it's also something to think about me, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's, can I add a comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just looking at it. When stormwater is shed from the road and it's shed from the driveway, okay? The responsibility is divided. When Robert looks at approving a construction project for these new builds, he's looking at it from the perspective of the homeowner managing their stormwater watershed. When we're looking at it from a road perspective, we're looking at managing the watershed from the road. And so Todd has laid in elements of swales, which direct water to drains. The idea here is to get the water to the lake. If there are driveways that would interrupt that stormwater flow, then that's where we need to consider putting in culvert pipe underneath the driveway.
I just want to make sure we're cognizant of it, because I just see a lot of concrete. And I know, I mean, when you walk around the lake and you look at most every new build has a drain beside the driveway, in the driveway. So, you know, that's, you know, part of our processes. And so I just don't want to I don't think the town. So the management depends on the driveway.
Yeah. And I think you made a comment at the beginning that I wrote down because I thought it was a good comment that you build in extra to make sure you are covered. And I think you even restated that on this slide. So the magenta shaded areas would most likely fall into that category where you built in extra to make sure that you had the money when the final design, whatever perturbation of these driveways, you could cover that.
Yeah. Basically, I would.
Correct interpretation of.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I know this is a preliminary sketch of the project. I'm just a little curious, at the north end of Quiet Harbor, there's two catch basins. And the illustration has them going nowhere. Could you tell me what the plan which way you're going to move that water?
So that encompasses replacing those two drains at the north end
Okay,
and directing it all into that outfall pipe,
into the what?
into that outfall pipe that goes into the lake.
Okay, so there'll be a drain line. 20 inch, 21 inch,
Yeah,
12 inch that runs from the south end to the north end.
not fully. So when we did this initial, and this could be, and this is something that can come up in final design, and we can just talk about and discuss. It was, there's an easement, I believe, that with two drains to the lake now. That we can further investigate and see. The concept was to tie into the one at the south, and those two inlets would just tie into that one and run, that already runs to the lake. And then at the north end was to gather all of that into new piping and run that to
Take it to the
the
channel.
Yep.
Okay. Just two other things. There's a dotted line, a green dotted line at 1234 lot.
Mhm.
I don't know what a green dotted line is on this illustration. It appears to be significant, but I'm just curious what it is.
The dotted one there.
Yeah, the green one adjacent to the south of the property line by about, in my illustration, by about.
It goes
1/8 of an inch.
west, east, east, west.
It runs west, east, or east, west. Yeah.
Yeah, that is, I believe that one is that existing drain that goes to the lake.
You know, is that on an easement? Or is it private?
That's what I was told, is that both of those are an easement, but we need to do further research on that.
Okay, in the, just the last comment that I have to make, regarding the issue on County 700 East. I've talked to the contractor that put that new tile in, there's two 16-inch tiles that go from the west side of 700, catches all the farm groundwater from north and south and runs it to the channel. I also talked to the county surveyor, and they both indicated to their knowledge that it's working 100%. So there's no water coming across 700 from the county side of the road. If that's not correct, I'll gladly take it back to the surveyor.
No,
I would stand here and say I don't believe that is correct, because 700 has flooded numerous times. Guy has had to go out there and shut 700 down over the last year.
I'm talking here at the Quiet Harbor and by West Clear Lake. The other issue at 700 and South Clear Lake, that was a problem for Guy, and also the county.
And it's coming
repaired.
from the county.
It's coming from, it's a county problem, and they just repaired it. It was a collapsed tile in Joe Diver's, God rest his soul. I guess it'd be his backyard or like his roadside yard. You can see the excavation where they put new tile in, and I think we will not see any flooding there. Again, if it occurs, I got the surveyor's number.
no, that's fine. And this will, you know, if,
Mhm.
yeah, this concept will help capture the pipes that are working, the two 16-inch that are there. They'll capture that better and get it to the lake.
Now, the county line that was flooding right there at South Clear Lake and 700 East. That is a major county line that comes from miles across 120.
Okay,
And so it's been failing for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time, and I believe they discovered the issue. Fixed it.
okay, well, that's good. Yeah, I know that's been
Yeah.
obviously outside the town, but it's been a concern
Yeah.
for a while, yeah.
But we've got quite a few residents in town, get wet.
That's that.
All right.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, no problem at all. All right, so here's our, again, high level concept on the West Clear Lake Drive up there, between the bridge and Lakeview. So as I stated before, generally, a general roadway is crowned to where the center is high and it sheds the water off. This being a little bit narrower roadway, there's lots of driveways. The houses are really close to the road. This one, I proposed a little bit different concept because if you're shedding water off the side of the road, you gotta have places to pick it up. Well, there's really, and I don't feel like the concept does the justice when you're standing out there. There's not a lot of places for that water to go on the side of the road. There's a lot of hard surfaces. As I said, the houses are really close. So this one, I kind of propose more of what you may see in an alley. It's called an inverted crown. So instead of the roadway being like this, it's like this. But we'll run our storm sewer down the middle of the road and try to pick it up at different points and try to get an outfall point to the lake better. I know I posted, or I had one picture in there earlier of, water pretty much all the way across that roadway. And as I stated, water sitting on the roadway is bad because it sits there, it soaks in. It's an ice rink in the winter, last winter was very unique in the fact that we got a quick thaw and a lot of rain, but the ground itself was still frozen, so we couldn't get a lot of water to infiltrate into the ground. That one time, and everybody was having issues then. So again, if we can get the water off the roadway faster, piping and out, it's gonna make those roads last longer. So again, we put some new piping in, some new inlets. I said it'd be an inverted crown, 6 inches of asphalt and 12 inches of stone. And again, try to get those driveways to sit a little bit higher, just to make sure that none of the road water is going back up on those roadways.
Scott, there are probably 6 different UDO items that addresses the property owner's responsibility with water. Driveway was one, flood water coming off gutters, et cetera. The problem that I see with this stretch of roadway, there's 2 houses, the second house from the bridge and the third house from the bridge. Both either discharge their roof water and their driveway water right to the road by no gutters. The other one has downspouts that shoot to the road. And if you add up the square footage of their house, their roof, throw in the driveway, there's more discharge coming off the roof than that's generated by the road. So we're really usurping the homeowner's responsibility by collecting this water. They first should take the water that they're generating. The lake they're narrow lots, it's only 50 feet away. So why do we want to put in a 20 or 12 or 21 inch pipe and move the water several hundred feet when it's their water that we're moving that we should send to the lake 50, 60 feet away?
It doesn't eliminate the watershed from the road.
But it's twice the amount.
But it doesn't eliminate it.
Well,
We still have to manage.
But I'm just saying it's doubling the load. You back that half off,
I'm not,
and how serious is the water problem?
yeah, so I'm not sure that, Todd can speak to this, but you were considering the watershed from the road in this design,
Yes, I was. So
In the road or on the road?
from the road.
there's still, I echo what you're saying. Yes, there is a lot of water that comes off properties. There's still the existing pavement the way it is. There are flat spots, low spots. So whether it's coming off them, if they were to address that, there'd still be water sitting on the road, maybe not as much, but there'd still be some water that needs to be picked up somehow. So it's not necessarily a 21 inch pipe, it's a 12 inch pipe. So
I think as a community, we need to get our residents in compliance as new construction is. And we need to revisit this because it's a lot of square footage. It's it's up to 4,000 square feet coming off of the houses and driveways.
And that's something, to kind of echo that,
And the other thing, I legally, I understand that the property lines go to the center of the road, so I think we're gonna need easements to run anything in that roadway.
There
I'm
is-
not an attorney, but
yeah, there is right of way by use. So
Okay.
being that the pavement is
there,
18 feet,
okay,
you have that 15, 16, 18 feet that is considered town. And that's something to echo too, George, as more and more houses are being built, that's that much more hard surface. Not only housing wise, but driveway wise, in the past.
No, I disagree. We have a full-time zoning administrator that holds the new construction accountable for management of their stormwater. We are holding ourselves accountable as a town for the stormwater runoff of the roads. That's what your design was intended to do. If we've got non-compliance and we want to go after the homeowners to resolve that, that's completely separate.
Yes.
To the road watershed that we need to manage. So, appreciate you pointing that out. We can talk to our zoning administrator on how to
it
best.
sounds like a two-fork approach because they said more than half the water on the road in that particular area is coming off of the houses.
Thanks.
All right, next. So final project that was applied for, as we discussed, was West Clear Lake Drive. It stretches from 700 to right about Sunset Bayport. We match up to there on the east end, where we just did that culvert a couple years ago. We basically stop at those points. So this one was taken into account, mainly, again, as I stated earlier, to encompass that drainage pipe issue at 22 West Clear Lake Drive. We've had that on the books since 2019. It kind of kept getting put on hold for various reasons. So that would include the new outfall to the lake, which has been permitted. We do have a permit in hand. We will need to do an extension on it. And then based on, high level GIS and elevations, expanded upon that with some additional storm sewer and inlet as far as we could, to try and pick up more of the roadway water as best we can. Certainly, I know, again, this is high level based on GIS elevations. We can expand upon it a little more if necessary, once we get the final survey. But as I said, it includes new outfall, high level storm sewer. This would be a crown roadway. Again, full reconstruction, 6 inches of asphalt and 12 inches of stone. And again, we've got it in there so that if we need to adjust the driveways as we see fit. So. Any questions on this one? Sorry.
You said you had a permit for
That,
drain line to the lake.
yes, yep, so
Is there a
that,
legal easement established for that,
yes,
recorded?
I believe it is recorded now. I believe it was existing and it was put. I'd have to go back and look,
Okay.
to be perfectly honest. It's either been reestablished or it was existing.
I've talked to the previous homeowner and he wasn't sure there was an easement there. So I'd like to see it before we get into it.
Yeah, I will double check on that.
Yeah, I don't think we want to put any
No.
town asset in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, historically, you know,
the whole part.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 100% recommend, yes. Yep. So. Okay, all right, so what's next? So basically the next steps is hopefully we'll get this award from NDOT here this month. You know, fingers crossed by the end of the week, you know, how NDOT works. So I kind of put together a potential schedule that we can look at. If we're awarded and approved to proceed, we would go right ahead and survey those roadways so that we can get detailed information. We would proceed on final design and the rest of the permits as needed. We would bid those projects out in around February. We would then have to award and sign those contracts right away. That's part of NDOT's requirement in order to receive the funds. And then once they receive that, they will then turn around and issue some money to the town based on the bid amount. And usually it takes a couple months for them to actually send the money. You know, that's just how they work. So, and then we could construct summer to fall of next year. So, I think I got one more slide. Questions? Yes.
I have one, is this one, are all three projects one application or is it three separate applications?
It is.
I-
Oh, sorry. It is one application.
Thank you.
So we can pick and choose which parts of that application we want to apply.
No, being that it's one application, NDOT makes it, kind of ties your hands into if it's similar project type, which these are, then it has to be on one application. Then it's less applications for them to review.
Just a point of clarification, at our August 16th meeting, as we talked applications, collectively, we use the plural word applications. In 2 points of the discussion, we talked about 3 different applications, which collectively we all agreed to. So what you're telling us here today is substantially different than what we were told August 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I was unaware of the meaning behind the definition that you guys use as applications. And I should further specify that being that there's similar types, it would be included in one application. And that's NDOT's rules based on their ability. They look kinder on one application versus multiple. In my opinion, so, but.
So NDOT prefers them all, whatever you're going for, to be all grouped together. as
Yes.
One.
Yes, and it is one of their. You can't select, it flags it if you have, 2 applications with the same word type. It flags it and says it has to be as one application. So.
Well, that difference, quite frankly, would have changed my vote. I voted for it. Sort of like the federal government, you gotta vote for it before you can read it. It's funny, the federal government's not funny here.
No, it's not.
Any other council questions? With no other council questions, I think it would be pertinent to give the public one additional chance. So I make a motion to open for general public.
Do I have a second? There's a motion on the table.
George, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have a vote to open to public. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody in the audience have questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
1 second, Aunt Rippy did have their hand up, but then they took their hand down. I don't know if they still want to ask a question. They also have their hand up in the last one. And I don't know if they can hear me.
So if M. Rippey has a question, please type it in the chat box.
Or you can talk.
You can talk now.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, great. Well, so for one, this is Matt Rippey, 68 West Clear Lake Drive, actually relocated here from Michigan almost a year ago. So just kind of, getting more involved in the town business and kind of getting an idea of what happens around here. And one, I must say, I got to thank you for the detail in this presentation. I don't know what transpired in years past, but I think this made a lot more sense, right? It makes it easy to comprehend and understand kind of what's going on. But I did have a question too on the actual application. So as we kind of heard, right, there's 3 projects that comprise the whole application. If that money is approved, this still has to go for vote, correct? For it to actually get done, assuming that we do get the money. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
Okay. And if council then would, for some reason, not approve it, what happens after that? Can the town then reapply next year, for example, to do the same project, and a year later? What are the ramifications of that type of response?
If the town were to essentially turn down the money, nothing happens as far as that, they just don't accept it. However, it could look a little bad in NDOT's eyes that, hey, we're giving you this money, oh, now you don't want it. It may not look as favorable on future applications.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of my thought, but I wanted to kind of understand, the specifics of that. So that's helpful. Thank you. And I had some other questions, but in your second part of that presentation, you actually answered them. So I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been.
Pat Hilton, 352 East Clear Lake Drive. It's just in response to a comment by George. I think after all I've heard this evening about the overall condition of the roads around the entire lake and the concerns, I think it's imperative that as a board that you do pay close attention to property owners who are not accepting responsibility for any water problems that they are creating on their property that contributes to the deterioration of the roads. So I think it's really critical that we keep a close eye on that and you do whatever you can do to see that they are in compliance. Thank you.
Heard that, Robert. Okay, I think we've got Jim and then Todd. And then
Back to your, let's see, both Quiet Harbor and West Clear Lake Drive. Understanding the need to address the water issue on the lake accessory side, on the far side, with the drainage coming down the hill from 700 potentially needs to run off somewhere. Are you creating a new hazard? Because I'm not aware of any current problems that are facing the homeowners today on the lake residential side. It seems like we're going to put a lot of work and investment on the lake side versus the other side. You've got a long drainage pipe coming in and going all the way down. Does that just, what happens to the water today? Is it pooling? Is it a huge issue there? And I know there is that issue on the outside, but as the water then drains down and you have that, is it necessary to do the buildup and put the culvert pipe and the drainage on the driveways? I mean, if they're not, if it's not a problem today and we're putting the road in, what makes us think it's gonna be a problem after the road is in? I guess that's my question.
It may not be fully needed, and we'll get more information once we do the survey.
Got it.
So then we can address each individual spot a little differently.
Okay,
But definitely this side, we want to swale it so
Right.
that it's not coming onto the road.
understand that.
So, yeah, that's something we'll look at once we.
So you were just kind of building in that as a contingency that says if it's needed, we'll do that. But again, it's high level and not necessarily has to be done.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Todd's next, then Bill, then Kathy, you had a-
To one, fact or fiction. We know that traffic patterns affect the wear of a road. So fact or fiction, does a one-way street like a loop Quiet Harbor or a loop of Point Park, one-way street have less wear than when it's not a major thoroughfare than keeping it two ways?
You're saying making it one way or
Will
the
it
fact that
last
it's
longer? Will the same pavement last longer if it's a one-way street rather than a two-way street in these areas that, I'm not proposing we do this, I just want the answer to the question.
I don't like that.
No, it took me a minute to get where it was going, and then I'm like, they're not one ways, but I Now I track it.
It becomes,
looked at.
they last longer. Well, it's not a through street.
I think,
Exactly. It becomes, it's like, it's made one way. It becomes not a through street. If it's two ways, it is a through street. If you think about it, so that's one consideration, maybe you don't know the answer, but.
I think it's kind of there's a lot.
And the answer may be not significantly.
I would say not significantly, but it may make the wear pattern more prevalent, because if you're always going in the same spot, yeah.
So that was just a fun question.
No, it makes
Things that keep me up at night. In the next slide.
I appreciate it.
So this entry from Lake Drive into West Clear Lake. If you look to the north, just beyond the mouth, is a huge standing water area. So the way you presented this to NDOT, if you determine after the survey that this needs to go and actually 50, through Clear Lake and 50 feet east and west on Lake Drive, is that still possible? Because in my opinion, the drain should go across the street, knowing how it pools.
Okay.
And you get a free car wash every time you walk. And it's raining. Or are you bound to that edge of your proposal?
We are not bound to that edge. We are bound to the street. So if it encompasses part of that as an approach, we can expand slightly.
And you'll learn that in the survey.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, 352 East Clear Lake Drive. In this 5-year study, was any consideration given to roads that are more heavily traveled? You alluded to that just a minute ago. I mean, your east and your west and your south, they got to have a whole lot more traffic than the cul-de-sacs. So in the expense of the money, would you be wise to start doing some of the, I don't remember our number system, I have to look at that. Would we be wise to do some of those? And then one that maybe needs something to a chip and seal to get by? And then try to get on the program like you were talking about, that now we've got a tier coming down. How long are all our roads going to last?
Yes, in that 5-year plan, and we can go back to it if you want. We did kind of consider more of the heavily traveled roads. That's why Lakeview was one condition, but those on there we go. Sure. Yep. So Lakeview, South Clear Lake Drive Park, East Clear Lake Drive. That's why some of those were put in as well, not only because of the Paisley rating, not only because of not as much drainage on it, but also, yes, that they are more heavily traveled than others.
And then I think Bill had a question, then Kathy, then.
So Bill Hannah, 208, my question's on the same lines, like Quiet Harbor, I really don't know how much traffic there and what and houses, so I think it's very low. Do we consider a lesser spec road there and either apply the money at one of the other roads or spend a little more energy managing the water over by Lakeview? I don't know the case, but do we really think hard about the specifications on Quiet Harbor? It needs repair, it needs some drainage, but do we need a 12-inch basin? Given the traffic pattern there, just something we gotta think about where we throw our money. Hopefully we get all $1.3 million, that'll be good, but do we spend it a little wiser? That's all.
Well, Kathy, you're up next.
And then Kathy, Sheco 144. It's my understanding that you remove all of the road that's there and start over. Is that what you mean by
Full reconstruction,
total reconstruction?
yes.
So in some of those areas where it's a wetland, what will happen?
Meaning,
Like
when you
if you're
say
gonna
west,
take up everything that's already there and start fresh. And it's a wetland, what do you do?
it's not considered a wetland through the roadway. Are you talking an actual established, registered wetland? Or just that it holds water, swamp? So the marsh area. So basically they can make sure that it's a little bit of a construction issue. That generally the side of it, they'll keep that established to help keep the water off. If there is standing water. Yeah, so with any construction, there's gonna be some impacts to those homeowners, of course. The contractor would do, will write the specs to say that they're gonna do the best they can to keep access to everybody. And the fact that as they remove the road, they'll put stone back to help keep it drivable and accessible for homeowners, emergency vehicles, etc.
Was that your question?
Does that answer your question?
Sorry.
Or was it more in the design of the code?
Well, I'm thinking of, that area behind Quiet Harbor was land that did not perk, it holds water. And the area at 176, there's a swamp on the other side of that road. So something needs to be done there, but I'm just concerned if you're starting over with a road. The same thing is gonna happen, it's gonna sink, because it's a wetland.
So as long as we look at that and build the road, accounting for even worse subgrade in that section. So if in fact it's got buck and peat in it, we may need to dig out a little more in that area, put some bigger stone in and make sure that it's stable.
Did you account for that in your cost?
I think we've got enough in there to include, meaning that it's those areas.
And Todd, just a point of clarification. If it is considered a wetland by the state, by the federal level, we cannot touch it. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it would have to be identified in the process when we were going to identify the projects and create the bids, things along those lines. When you complete that survey, they're going to tell you that something is technically considered a wetland. And if it is, we cannot touch it. Just for a point of clarification, if it is a true wetland, we cannot touch it.
But designated by the state. So if it's just a swamp, it's just a swamp.
Well, that may be a problem at Cottage 22 because there is a national wetland, it's on the National Wetland Inventory list. Behind Cottage, this is West Clear Lake, from 16 to 24 is a wetland back there. And there's a river beam in front of it, which drains to the man-made creek. And I don't know if that's going to interfere with the permitting and with the draining of that water.
That was all, my understanding is that was all, that's all part of the conservancy, right?
No, the river beam runs halfway through Cottage, well,
Between 22 and 23.
it's 16, it takes half of their lot. 18, it takes a third of their lot, 20, a quarter of their lot, and 22, the back corner of their garage is where it runs through. Per this illustration that I have in the US Fish and Wildlife Service National Wetland Inventory.
Can I see that?
Sure.
But this.
That would have came up, in for the name. It's not in the roadway.
No, but our draining is going to tackle that. That ditch that we're going to tie into is draining that.
Yeah, but that has to do with, we're just taking what's already coming through. We're not draining anything in excess of what's already draining. So,
But that's part of the water issue back there.
okay, yeah.
So maybe what we could do, because I want to get to Kay and Evie's questions and continue to move the meeting. So Todd and George, could you guys maybe work on that, make sure that's addressed when you come back with the specs, if we get the grant approved?
Yes, yes, I can look, yeah.
Well, that goes to your. Permitting. The idea.
DNR, and Army Corps, since all that, yeah, we've already talked to them.
They've all permitted this
Yeah,
work that you scoped.
correct. They have already given us permission. So. Oh, yeah.
Additionally, there may be some surprises on Quiet Harbor. There were 4 channels cut in there at one time. There's 2 remaining channels. So some of those property are sitting on what filled in channel.
Oh,
1975, they were still standing in some, 1971, they're still standing at 75. They got filled in.
oh, interesting.
And that whole hill of Quiet Harbor was dug out and shoved to the lake to build the house and so that's all fill from the road. That hill used to go way out and then down.
Oh,
So that's where the fill came from. And I understand there's probably some concrete in some of those old channels from when they took the marina down. It's easier to just to put the channel in
oh,
and truck off back into space.
of course, yeah.
But as you start to excavate the road, you may find some interesting stuff there besides where you pour it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Hey, did we still have a question?
I just had to respond to Don's question or about chip and seal. Years ago, that was the question asked by people around the lake, chip and seal, because it's cheap. And Vikers would not like that. I mean, at that time, it was said no more chip and seal. I mean, they used to chip and seal, but no more chip and seal. It's too dangerous.
Okay, Evie and then Jim and then, oh, go ahead.
I just have one last question.
No, it's Evie's. Slide that says Quiet Harbor.
I think it was right beside that other one.
Yeah, that's one more.
There it is, okay.
2 parts.
Oh, Evie Slusser, 110. Where this drains into this channel, right? Didn't this channel get dredged?
Yes.
I don't know.
That's the conservative.
Really didn't get dredged. No, I bet it's been. And
Has it been that long?
it's been a smaller longer than you think.
But is it gonna need to be dredged again because you're getting all that grain?
We would anticipate that it would be put in at the same elevation of the existing pipe. We can't really touch. As part of this project, we can't really touch that. But it would be something. I consider council wise, if you need it or not, I can look at it.
That's a DNR.
It doesn't come from the farm.
So it would be the homeowners applying to the DNR for that.
Okay.
And as far as the consideration there is really sedimentation from the runoff. Sediments are coming from the fields to the west. It's really, we're not going to see sediments of any great amount, I wouldn't think, coming off the road. It's pavement, so.
Shouldn't know.
Shouldn't know.
There was a question.
Yeah, but no, I get it. I still see it.
Jim?
So this is more of a financial for the town. If there's the 1.3, that's the total project. The town is responsible for 25% of that project. How does that 25% compare to what the budget is for improvements and roads, et cetera, within the town? I apologize, I wasn't at the budget meeting, but I just wanted to ask the question.
Council approved that the portion for the match. And then some, because there are certain projects that guy has to go out and patch a few potholes or call API to come out and fix a certain spot. But we won't get the 1782 notice, which is basically the DLGF approval of our budget, basically, until December.
Ron?
It's a late question, but I'm thinking about. This project looks like 7, 8, 9 homes. Are you really going to dig all that out and start out with a 12-inch base and 6 inches of asphalt for under 10 homes? Is that what's going to be done?
That's my question.
Nine homes.
Yeah, and no, and I understand that's always a cost benefit question. More of the concern is the fact that the roadway is in very bad shape and the drainage that comes from those county pipes coming across. So you got to look at it as more than just cost for those homeowners or cost for 9, 10 homeowners versus, picking up what I would call multiple issues, if that makes sense. Meaning the roadway is bad, but also trying to pick up all the water that sheds off there, all the water that comes from the county, and making sure we're not, doing more harm by not doing anything there, I guess is what I'm trying to make.
But Todd, as I indicated earlier, the county is 100% fixed. There is no water to deal with from the county. And
Coming through those.
It's coming through the pipes, nothing on the ground, nothing on the road. The swale in the catch basin is picking up 100% of that water and taking it to the channel. Straight to the channel. It's going under the county Clear Lakes property, not over it.
Okay.
And anything different, but the surveyor here, we can meet.
Is it fair? I'm sorry, did you have some more?
Go ahead.
Is it fair to assume that your design criteria for the roads is not necessarily a vehicle, but the construction vehicles, the weight of cement trucks, the weight of the garbage trucks. And things of that nature. Is that not really the design criteria when we look at a road bed? And the thickness of the pavement? If all we were running over the roads was golf carts, it would certainly, to the point that's being made, would drive your design criteria to be something less.
Correct.
But that isn't the case. We have the garbage truck, which is at axle limits of 22,000 roughly pounds that are running over that road every week.
Yep.
We have the occasional cement trucks, dump trucks. For construction purposes that are running over the roads. And if you don't use those as your design criteria, then we're prone to reduced life of the road.
Correct.
Is that fair?
That is a very fair assessment. Yep, that is why we recommend that road bed thickness. That profile.
And when you look at the 5-year plan, based off of, let's just say, we'll use this as an example, that we would complete this road. And to the point that it has less travel, less traffic on it than one of the normal roads around the lake. In your professional opinion, if it's the normal traffic that we get, we're looking at a 15 to 20-year lifespan of the road. With less traffic on the road and the investment to do it right the first time. Is that length of period when we're considering a 5-year plan, should we consider that more to 20 to 25, for example, because you went in, you did it right at first, you don't necessarily have to go back and hit that area within that time, within that initial time frame. Would that be a fair?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Going in and doing this roadway right, yes, you should expect that to be in the 20 to 25, maybe even 30 years before you need to touch it. Again, routine maintenance, it's gonna, like everything, it's gonna develop a couple cracks here and there, you know, it happens. It'll need a little bit of maintenance, but generally, yeah, you won't have to touch, you should not have to touch that.
Okay. Well, that being said, I think we've got a lot of good questions out. I could give Madam President a chance to say something, I think, but I would like to make a motion to close for the public session so we can continue on. We've got several items that need to be addressed this evening yet still, so.
So we have a
Motion.
motion. Do we have a second to close public comment?
George, I'll second.
We have we were closing. Excuse me, no, that's okay.
Rick has a message up there that you guys.
She was just saying it was scratched in 2000.
Thank you for pointing that out. No, that's all right. So we have a motion on the table and a second. All in favor of closing public comment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Public comments close on this. I just want to take a moment on behalf of council and say thank you, Todd, and thank you to the residents. I know this has been a very educational hour for most of us. I hope that moving forward, we would have you here earlier in the year instead of in November, and then it might not take 3/4 of our meeting, and I think we'll all learn a lot more, but thank you very much and look forward to continuing.
Thank you, God.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And I don't know if you want to stay and answer some other questions when we finish the meeting, or you're free to hit the road and be safe.
Madam President, prior to moving on the agenda, I'd like to make a motion for time's sake. Due to the amount of business that we still need to get through, that we postpone item 7C, 7E, 7F, and 8A until the December meeting.
I have a motion. Do we have a second to move?
George, I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to move the agenda items to December. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. So we will now move to new business, the sanitation bid, and I believe Dan is starting.
I'd like to.
Yeah. Good job. Yes, we're
At the end.
at the end, we're doing new business and then reward.
Okay. Bringing things back to order, let's talk about the sanitation bid. Quick little context around this discussion on October 18th, council approved basically the bidders specifications and instructions for the bid, as well as approved the clerk's office to go forward with and initiate the bidding process. As part of that, the clerk's office did contact all tri-state sanitation companies. I think there was a quantity of 8 to essentially understand their interest and get contact information to send the specifications and instructions to them. At that time, through those phone contacts, only 2 providers indicated an interest in bidding to our specifications. Notice to bidders was then published on October 25th and November 4th. Bids were due in by today at 10 a.m. and we did a public meeting to open those the bids that we did receive. There were 2 responses. One, a no bid from Republic Services. And 2, the second response was a proposal from Washler Incorporated. I have personally performed a compliance assessment of the Washler Incorporated proposal against the council approved specifications and instructions and found it to be fully compliant. As of about noon, there was one exception to that whereby they did not include a workman's compensation coverage policy. But Jeff Washler has since sent that in. So he is now fully compliant. The proposal provides the price per resident for sanitation and recycle collection for the requested 4-year period of performance. I will note that in order to address some of the leachate concerns with the rear load truck, and also it was a better fit for him from a business perspective, he is proposing the auto load truck, which will require residents to place their cans at the edge of the road for collection, which is a difference from what we have today, which is Washler would actually pull them out of the corrals. Jessica has provided us a monthly and annual cost for each of the 4 years, and this total for across the 4-year is about $655,000. I did take that number and compare it since we only had one bid. I did look at other comparables. Washler actually provided us with a comparable out of Waterloo, Indiana, and our price was within 10%, and it was 10% more. But have to recognize that from where Washler's center of operations being Garrett, it's only 11-mile drive to Waterloo, and it's 39 miles to the 10 Clear Lake. So that in itself would reduce that 10% down. So I felt it was reasonable. And Waterloo, just for folks' education, has 809 households as compared to our 601, which is what Washler proposed. The bid price does result in an increase to our residents for 2023 of $7.94. And then subsequent years, 2024 is a 4% increase, 2025 is 5%, and 2026 is 5%. And with that, I know council has, although given a short time, was provided, the full proposal, and I'd ask if there were any questions that you had. Okay. Okay, hearing no questions, I would like to move to accept the Water Incorporated proposal and provide formal notification of award as stipulated in section number 4 entitled Award of Contract of the Notice to Bidders Town of Clear Lake Specifications and Instructions for Collection, Transportation, and Disposal of Solid Waste in corporate limits of Clear Lake and by signature of council president.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
George, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries.
The amended sanitation rate ordinance number 2022-01 was passed by council on January 13th, 2022. This was the results of the Baker Tilly rate assessment. It included an appendix A, which is allows for the pass-through of sanitation contract costs. With tonight's approval of the new sanitation contract for the cost for 2023 through 2026, there's Jessica prepared a set of associated appendix A's for our review and approval. This would adjust the billing amounts to residents. And again, this starts January 1st, 2023. So those were also included in the council information for this evening. Are there any questions for that?
No.
Hearing no questions, I move to approve the 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 appendix A's as written.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Brent. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. If motion carries, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad we have trash. We don't want to be like Fort Wayne, so that's good. That's right, absolutely. So we'll now move to the resolution transfer of funds, MPH.
Yep. I can.
So no, have at it. I didn't know if you were.
So the rising cost of petroleum products, as we all see on the news and experience daily, has resulted in a need to essentially rebalance some appropriations within a few subcategories of motor vehicle highway fund. A resolution authorizing the transfer of appropriations within the budget of the MVH fund has been prepared for consideration by council. And are there any questions with that?
The purpose of this is for covering fuel costs.
Yeah.
You get the funds where they need to be.
There's fuel, there was some road patch material that is required, and then some small tools.
Okay. Very good.
It was in, as you can see, it was in the amount of $2,400. And any other questions?
So this is a situation where we had anticipated and budgeted for a certain amount. However, because we've exceeded that amount, we're now bringing this to council so we can adjust funds to take that extra step to make sure we're covering our costs.
So perfect.
Yep, that is correct. So I move to introduce resolution 0522, resolution to transfer funds.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Brent. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
So I will read the resolution. It's resolution 05-2022, resolution to transfer funds. The Clear Lake Town Council respectively request to transfer appropriations within the budget in the following fund and classifications under IC 6.1.1-18-6. Transfer from 2201 MVH Fund Services and Charges Professional Services, $2,400. To 2201 MVH Fund Supplies, Operating Supplies of 400. And to 2201 MVH Fund Supplies, Other Supplies for 2,000. Signatures for Darren Thorpe, Dan Rippey, Brent Schlosser, George Schenkel, Molly Weber. Attested by Jessica Swanner, clerk treasurer, November 15th, 2022. Any questions from council?
No.
Hearing none, I would move to open for public comment and question.
We
I'll
have,
second that.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor to open for public comment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Public, any questions?
On that? Okay, hearing none, I would move to close public comment.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
So this completes first reading of resolution 0522, resolution to transfer funds. I move to suspend the rules of order, allowing for a second reading by title only.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay. Reading by title, resolution 05-2022, resolution to transfer funds. I move now to pass resolution 05-2022, resolution to transfer funds as written.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
George, I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. And we have moved, item C is moved to December, so we will now move to D, which is the 2023 pay rate, and I think Brent's gonna do this.
Yes, on October 18th, council passed ordinance number 2022-12. Ordinance setting the salaries and wages of the officers and employees for the town of Clear Lake, Indiana for the year 2023. The 2023 rate of pay for the town employees have been updated for the council consideration. I move to introduce the 2023 employee rate of pay.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
George, I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Go ahead, Brent.
All right. 2023 rate of pay for hourly employees. Employee Guy Rogers, hire date 2/13/17. 2022 current pay $25.53 per hour. 23 pay rate $27.31 per hour. Overtime or premium pay $40.96 per hour. Employee Denver Simpson, hire date 4/19/2022, $17 per hour for 2022. 2023, $17.68 per hour. Overtime or premium pay $26.52 per hour. Employee Chris Emmerich, hire date 6/1/2017, $31 per hour. 2023 pay rate $32.55 per hour. Overtime or premium pay $48.82 per hour. Employee Rex Snyder, 7/14/2006 or 2016, hire date. Current pay $28 per hour. 2023 pay rate $29.40 per hour. Overtime or premium pay $44.01 per hour. Employee Todd Patterson, hire date 8/3/2018, $27 per hour. 2023 pay rate $28.08 per hour. Overtime or premium pay $42.12 per hour. Employee Shannon Temple, 8/3/2018, hire date $27 per hour. 2023 pay rate $27.81 per hour. Overtime premium pay $41.75 per hour. Employee William Lanou, hire date 9/20/21, $25 per hour. 2023 pay rate, $26 per hour. Overtime or premium pay, $39 per hour. Employee Alexander Harris, hire date 9/20/21, $25 per hour. 2023 pay rate, $25.75 per hour. Overtime or premium pay, $38.62 per hour. Employee Jennifer Saxon, hire date 11/8/21, current pay rate $18 per hour. 2023 pay rate $19 per hour. Employee Robert Howley, hire date 10/3/22. Current pay rate is $58,002, Jessica. Annually. Sorry, no, it didn't say Jessica, but it did say. Past November 15th, 2022. Garen Thorpe, Council President, attested by Jessica Swander, Clerk Treasurer. Move to open for public discussion.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second on the table for public comment, to open for public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Public, anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none.
I make a motion to close the public.
George, I'll second that.
And now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
I move to approve the 2023 employee rate of pay as written.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
George, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Golf car is being moved to December. Now we're going to turn it over to the website update. So I think George is going to pick it up and then I'll make a couple. Yeah, a few weeks. Jessica said that was okay. So George, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll just very brief opening comments. What we're addressing here tonight is an objective, objective number 21 that was set as a plan for the calendar year 2022. And the objective was to establish communication and an outreach program. And in our evaluation, Dan, Molly, myself, and others on the council looked at it and determined that our current website is not real flexible. There's a third party that we have to deal with, and it's sort of a pass the information on, wait and see if he gets to the right spot. And so, at any rate, Jen got involved in this, and she certainly is the website rock star of the moment. She's done a great job, what our mission was, as defined by Dan and also Terry Brown, a resident, worked up what do we need. I think it's still on the board over there. And what some of the need for a website going forward. And based on that, I can summarize it pretty briefly here. It's to have current information, better organized, user-friendly, and controlled by the town employees. So that being said, Jen, Molly, myself, and Terry Brown have worked on it, but to be truthful, Jen has done 99% of the work and did a fabulous job of discovering GoDaddy as a platform to use, and I'll just a few Molly came from there.
So yeah, just to add a couple things. Our plan is to actually go live with this website on December 6th. That's why we wanted to have this as part of tonight's agenda. Jennifer is going to walk through just a little bit of a demo so you can get a flavor. We will be having on December 1st, we will have 2 kind of office hours, similar to what Dan has done over the summer. We'll have it from 9 to 10 and then again 12 to 1. So people can come in, the employees can pop in too. I think we'll probably send a reach alert out on that as well. The cost is, it'll be $17 for November and December, and then after that, we'll move forward with a 24-month package, which will be under $800. And the nice thing, as George said, is Jennifer can just go change it right then. So when somebody says, well, where is this? We don't have that delay in getting things posted. So I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer. We did agree that this will be a very short demo just for you guys to get a little bit of a flavor for what it will look like, but we encourage you to come on December 1st. Go ahead. We're going to try to talk about, she'll show you the calendar, a little bit about what the calendar is going to look like. We'll walk through one of the departments. We won't be walking through all the departments today. And then we'll go through some of the analytics.
Okay, so on the right-hand side is what it would look like on your mobile device. So on the left is the new calendar. We tried to do Google, but we can't color code it. So we're trying something different. With this calendar, we can actually input more info. So we can link the agendas, we can add as much information as we want and any day. So let's see. You said a department, Molly?
Yeah, marshals. Chris is on the spot. We're going to be.
Did they airbrush it?
No.
No.
We'll put it right here.
Hey, I'm keeping.
I don't have a picture yet. Okay, so everybody will have the departments, will have like a clerk treasurer, zoning, so this is the marshals and the deputy, or the marshal, and the deputies, excuse me. So everything will, like here, if you click additional information, everything will open in a new window, so. There we go. So if you, the big thing was when you click on the current website, when you go to open something, it opens right in that website. So when you hit the back button or the X button, you have to start over. So that's one big thing is everything, every link will open in a new window. So it's pretty much this, we're putting as much info as we can out there. You know, golf cart regulations, the Steuben County Sheriff mobile app, fishing license requirements, just, you know, because we have a lot of new residents coming in, just trying to give them as much information as we can.
And then the payments, if you want to just talk to the payment piece of it. So payments, one other thing too, is what you'll see on Jennifer's screen is on the right-hand side, shows you what it'll look like on your mobile device. So you can see how user-friendly that will be.
So the payments will be the same. So you have your options, sewer bill, permit, golf fee. So when you click on it, we're going to the cup card, which is what we currently use. What's that?
The analytics, can you show a little bit? It won't be right up towards the end.
You said quick, no. Okay, so here's it.
Hold up.
Okay. So this is an example of just a random analytics.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, so we can. I'm just trying to hurry. So we can kind of keep track of, you know, how long you're on a page, how long you, how fast you click off of a page. We can figure out what countries are looking at it, what if you're men or women, which I don't really know how they do that, but they do it. So,
If you have a profile that you log in.
Yeah, your Google profile.
But we'll be able to see if, like in the winter, residents are signing in from Florida or other locations.
Yeah, and then we can keep, and then, because we'll do a monthly, right, analytic. So we can see, you know, if you're on your iPhone, if you're on your Apple or iPhone, Android, same thing. If you're on a desktop, PlayStation, whatever, so we can kind of see where everybody's at. And the big thing is we can see what pages people are on and then how fast they click off. So if you're looking for something, you're on the wrong page and we see a pattern, then we can fix that. So if someone's always going to like clerk treasurer page for something, and then we find out they're going to a different page, we can move that info there.
And can you go back to the home page too, please? Maybe. Just to show your board, maybe talk to how you could set up, how you've got the homepage set up.
I'm not any good on this.
It's done for the day too.
Yeah, I get it.
So you can see reach alerts right there, the newsletter, what to do if there's, an outage, if there's an alert, or you need to get, contact Watch Alert, it takes you straight to all of that information. And then if you want to scroll up just a little bit, Jen. If there's something going on, see where she has happy fall at the very top, that's something that you can change. If there's something we need to get out, she can go ahead and add whatever it is in there to let everybody know. What.
And then we'll have all of like the forms that we have everybody's department, but we'll have one page with everybody's forms on it. Right here, blue bar says happy fall.
Oh.
And I can put a link there too if we need to.
And what does that mean? Besides.
When you open,
It's for
when you open it up, you can have that's an immediate.
You can have next council meeting.
happy birthday.
It's a banner.
It's gonna be on the 7th on Friday or whatever that is, but the nice thing is, she can change all of that.
That is.
Yeah, because we're just the middleman right now. We're middlemen.
So, thank you.
How was feedback gathered from the users?
Going to be, yeah.
It's going to be.
It's gonna be on the,
No, I mean,
after it's being used.
if the user's not getting it where they want, or they see a problem, or. they
Wow.
have,
Contact. Oh,
How is that information gathered?
it is it's slower than it usually.
Yeah, it is. So this, anybody can drop a line. It comes right to me.
Okay.
So if there's a problem, if a link's not working, you can just shoot me a really quick email and say, hey, this link's not working, and we can get it fixed.
I couldn't find whatever, it took me longer, and those are things that at council meetings, Jennifer will provide that information, what feedback he's getting. And we also will probably do a survey at some point. We're still working with GoDaddy on how to navigate the survey.
I can do one.
And then any requests for information you would channel to the department lead.
Yeah. Just like if she got the phone call. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, guys.
This months of work.
There's
To
so
get
much.
us to this point.
So what?
Well done.
Thanks.
Focus that George gave you accolades for. It's, we're gonna have iterations, right? Now that we finally, I think that personally, that'll relieve a lot of stress. But
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, she actually gets excited about it. I do. It hurts my head. she comes into meetings, all like, oh, I'm like, okay, deep breath. But no, thank you. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back up to the approval of the monthly reports. We're gonna turn it over for the minutes for the October meeting.
Get there in a minute.
So, okay, so we'll let you get there.
21 slides.
I think you've all read the minutes from the October meeting.
Yep, the original ones on Friday were actually updated on. So there were some slight changes. For recommendation. Ready?
I don't need it in there, but I would like it included in this, for the last meeting, but I would like it included in this one. There was a discussion with Guy when it came to getting estimates or quotes coming in. That wasn't reflected in the meeting minutes, and Guy stated that it was truly a problem to get the vendors to even offer a quote or respond to him.
Yeah.
And that problem began in during the pandemic and has continued on to the current day.
Okay.
So we have a suggestion, do we have a motion to approve the minutes with Brent's suggestion?
It can just be, my comment can be included in the minutes for this month. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Okay.
We have
As presented.
Wonderful. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. And Jennifer, if you want, or Jessica, if you want to move to the voucher.
So for the voucher, a few things on here was, we did get the golf cart signs and posted. I'm not sure where Chris is at, or Chris and Guy are at picking those up. It's actually Guy's responsibility, but I didn't know if you two had. The GME testing was completed, so that bill is on here that you guys approved for last month, and that was all as far as the significant items there. Any questions?
I have one, is on the insurance, what does that cover? The $7,000, just.
So then it's going to be our property, our, so there's all the.
Building, everything. Yeah, oh, no, I didn't know if it was building equipment.
And it's quarterly.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, can we have a motion to approve the voucher. Let's present it.
George, I move that we accept the vouchers presented.
A second.
This is Dan, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the voucher as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll now get to the monthly reports. Jessica, you're up with the financial. You just keep going.
For the general checking account, we had revenue for October of $62,068.61. Disbursements of $66,442. For an ending balance on the 31st of October of $1,533,648.57. For the sewer, we had revenue of $67,263.82. Disbursements of $58,629.67. With an ending balance of $216,450.56.
Anybody have any questions, Jessica?
No questions. None there.
I just have one, and this is just a comment, and the Steuben County GOP party made a donation to the town of Clear Lake. Did we write them a thank you note at all?
No.
Okay, if you and I could follow up on that. That's
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. That all for Jessica? All righty, we'll move it to the marshal.
I'll look at that and say,
Clear the police department handled the reports in the month of October. Sheriff's office handled no reports within the town. They handled 4 reports within the town of Clear Lake. We had 132 hours worked for the month of October. Or 479 miles on Tahoe, 255 miles on the Durango, and the Durango is fully in service now. There's 0 hours on the Marine Patrol as the boat is taken out of the water at the end of September. As far as the report, the police department had 2 agency assist and 1 property damage crash. And the sheriff's office had 3 property damage crashes in the township and 1 domestic. The other thing I have is,
Wait, before you get there. Feedback on the Durango, how the guys,
everybody loves it. Rex, well,
feels like it's starting.
it's a little small for him, but getting used to it.
Okay, so.
Yeah. I do have a quote from Alon City for 2 new radar signs. It's within the budget. Price has gone up since we ordered them the last time. The quote for 2 of them is $6,499. The additional expense would be to buy 2 6x6 posts that whenever those signs come in. But that's what that should be less than $300 for that would be within my spending authority to get the signs bought or the post bought. I'm asking permission tonight for the council to go ahead and accept the quote for $6,499 from Alon City to get 2 more radar signs ordered. To get posted probably early spring.
Chris, this is Brent. I am making a motion to proceed accepting the quote. Is there a quote number I should reference or something? SO 7478. This is due to the extremely positive feedback we have received from the general public on the signs and how they feel it is beneficial and the data collection that we use them for.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it. Stan.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Chris, there you go.
Quick step back, what location you plan for this?
So the next 2 times we had talked, most conversation came up on 700 East, by the, be just south of the marina, somewhere in that area. Okay, I gotta figure out exactly where because their boat storage and everything like that from northbound traffic. So we gotta look at that a little bit. It'll probably be just north of South Clear Drive somewhere, but I'm gonna work it out so we don't have an issue there. And then for southbound traffic, it'll probably be somewhere north of West Clear Lake Drive and south of the county road, somewhere in that area, but probably closer to West Clear Lake Drive.
Thank you. That's good.
Anything else, Chris? All right, Brent, you think you're doing the fire?
Yeah.
department?
Through the fire department. Again, we saw an increase of mutual aids higher than the rest of the year. We did have 1 medical assist for both the town of Clear Lake and Clear Lake Township to have a grand total of 8 for the region totals and 7 for Clear Lake. Again, 6 of those were mutual aids outside of our area. Areas of concern, none. Topics, I always welcome them for any training exercises or fireworks. Although we got a few months before the next round of fireworks. Yes, hopefully. Yeah, any questions on the monthly data? And then moving on to the overall, you can see our occurrences within the town of Clear Lake have actually, or would have actually started to die off a little bit if we didn't have the number of mutual aids. But those are definitely important because should something tragic or major happen in our area, we will be requesting mutual aid.
All right, I think Robert, you're up next. Zoning administrator report.
From our last meeting, we've had 6 ILPs, brought in and approved. That's also with Larry finishing up. So, we had one from 546 Clear Lake Drive to install a 2-foot wide sidewalk, 72 West Clear Lake Drive, new home with a detached garage, 350 East Clear Lake Drive, an 8x12 stone patio. 52 West Clear Lake Drive, new AC unit. 6340 North 700 East, remodeling the home and new generator. And then East 675 North, the Clear Lake Yacht Club extended their pickleball courts and the fence, and they're installing a swale. The Plan Commission had a hearing 2020, excuse me, 2022-1, for Grecky and Lupa, for a, minor subdivision, at 57 West Clear Lake Drive is the approximate, address. It was approved with, conditions. One of those conditions where they had to supply a new survey with, corrected addresses on it, which they did do. The other condition is, upon the time that they are to add a, structures to the properties, that they're gonna have to have, some sort of plan or report or survey done showing how their drainage is gonna, be done there, because it's a pretty bad area for drainage to begin with, just because they're up on a hill there. No BZA hearing, project updates. I completed the update to the UDO, for all the, changes that will go effect January 1st of 2023. So those will be ready when that time comes. And Hughes Home update, that he's been doing work and it appears that he's moving along, pretty well there. I think that is it.
Awesome job.
Robert, on the new UDO book, each council member will get one.
If they want one, yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna do it by request, because there will be a digital copy available for everyone, so, and because everybody has the tablets now. I'll figure out which one of everybody, council, BZA members, planning commission members, which ones want them, and we'll make
So-
sure.
We were just adjusting the pages that were.
Yeah, we'll adjust the pages.
We just ordered them, what, a year or two ago, and they were a couple $100.
Well, my book's current up to what's going into effect.
Right, and
So that's, those are the only pages I need to either add or.
And I'll do that, but the only thing I was doing currently is I'm actually going through and creating a more user-friendly master copy.
Okay.
Because the one that was originally developed by the company that produced the old book, we scanned it in from what I understand. And when we go and update something, it doesn't do a really nice cohesive update throughout the whole entire document. So I'm going through and recreating the whole document again, so we have a master copy.
Okay.
But to your point, planning commission members and BZA members, yes, not all of council.
Okay.
So that was why I was like, whoa, you're doing.
So I can say the updated pages. Right.
Yeah, they'll be, then everybody will have the updated pages for the ND, I don't know if I have the UDO ready by then.
That's
I'd like
fine.
to say I would, but. Thank you, chop chop. It's all done, it just need to be printed out.
Any other questions for Robert? I just want to say great job. You've really jumped in and tackled everything that's headed the way. You've been very responsive. Thank you.
He was the right choice.
Right.
I will say that we could probably skip the metrics, but they will be published on the website this week, and on file.
Fabulous, thank you. So council member report, any?
Yes, I do. I'd like a couple things from the Steuben County Economic Council. For those that were in attendance via person or Zoom for when Isaac was in here, the co-workspace area at the building where Steuben County Economic Council is located is going to be offering free services for the month of December. Should anybody need anything along those lines during the holiday season, they can log on and, or go to, either Google Play or what's the app store for Apple?
It's just the app store.
The app store. You go to the app store and all you need to do is type in co-work Steuben and the app will come up and you can reserve one of the rooms should you need that. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And in addition to that, on the 17th, county officials along with Senator Sue Glick have requested a community meeting to be scheduled to discuss and provide general information about the current gas situation in Steuben County. Initially, those encouraged to be at the meeting were all elected officials, represented through the county, local and state officials.
17th of this month or next?
17th of this month. We just found out about it on Friday. But it is going to be at the Steuben County Fairgrounds, located at 100 Lane 101B, Crooked Lake, Angola, Indiana 46703. So this is a public meeting. Anybody from our community that would be interested in learning about the current gas situation for Steuben County is more than welcome to join.
Okay.
It will be at 10 a.m.
Any other council member reports? All right.
Not a report, just a request. If we could, on our website, post up DLZ's most recent handout or
Presentation.
presentation, if we could get that out there, I think the residents would appreciate that.
Good suggestion. So that's really general discussion. I have one thing, and I noticed that Chris Crawford has been on the line all evening. Is if we could, because we don't know when the training for the new clerk treasurer that AIM sponsors will be, is I did some research and we can get the 22 clerk treasurer training webinar for $25. So I think that might be something if we could do that for the incoming clerk treasurer. And
Do you
that's,
have information you can send me on it?
yes,
Okay.
it's on the AIM under their webinars. You
Okay.
just- But yes, I will send it.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody? Audience?
No, I had her sign up for,
I'm just being polite, yeah.
Keystone has their training in December.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what date it is.
It's 9. or something like
Yeah,
that.
I know Jen and I had her sign up for that, so she'll use the accounting.
Thank you. All right, so.
This is Bridget Harrison.
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead, Bridget.
Hi, this is with the Clear Lake Conservancy. I just wanted to share that we are going to have a public meeting on Tuesday, December 6th at 6:30 right there in Town Hall and on Zoom. And we will hear from Scott Banfield, who did the Eurasian water milfoil treatment. And he'll just share results and give us some ideas of what we can expect for treatment in 2023. So all are welcome. There will be more details on our website as well as some email blasts for reminders. Thank you.
Bridget, what time did you say that was on the 6th?
6:30.
6:30 p.m.
Bridget, if you want to send me or Jen an email on that, we can send out a reach alert for you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do that closer to the date. I'm sure many of us won't remember now.
Thank you. So Brett, you were going to make a motion.
Make a motion to close, adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
George, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning tonight's meeting? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Just don't want to keep that in.
No.
Madam Chair.
We're-